Richmond Command. The police service for the Northern Rivers of New South Wales is completely rotten from top to bottom. That's not up for debate. What I want to do is look at how this came to be. And to do that, we have to study Justice James Roland Wood. We'll first look at the criminal case for which he is best known, and then we'll look at the Royal Commission that bears his name. 14 years. That's how long Lee was alive for. And 14 years is how long her killer, Matthew Webster, spent in prison for the fact that he pleaded guilty to taking a 6-kilogram rock and crushing her skull with 2 savage blows after having already sexually assaulted her. I don't know about you, but I can remember 14 years ago like it was yesterday. It is not a long time. 14 years is not a long time to be alive. 14 years is not a long time to spend in prison for such a brutal murder. When Justice James Roland Wood sentenced the killer, he took great pains to highlight the severity of the sentence that he handed down. He had this to say: "I wish to add, it is an occasion of the greatest regret that a young man has to be sentenced to such a lengthy term of imprisonment, but it is inevitable, having regard to the appalling circumstances in which the killing occurred." Justice Wood's judgment made no reference to the sexual violence and considerably diminished the extent of collective violence inflicted on Lee at the party just prior to her murder. Blaming the parents, blaming the victim, served to draw attention away from the real issue at stake: the prolonged and collective physical, sexual and verbal abuse inflicted on the victim prior to her murder. Justice Wood is widely recognised as a conservative judge, best known for his involvement in the case of Lee. He was widely criticised for his judgment as he shifted blame for her rape and murder partly onto the underage victim, partly onto the victim's family. After being told that no one would be charged for her daughter's sexual assault, Lee's mother began a campaign for the case to be reinvestigated. As such, she asked the Royal Commission into the New South Wales Police Service for help. That was the Wood Royal Commission. The same Justice Wood who gave her daughter's killer 14 years, that's who she had to ask for help. And after thorough consideration, he said no.
A Supreme Court judge has taken on the toughest chore in New South Wales. Justice James Wood was named today to conduct the Royal Commission into the police force.
I was very much aware that there was controversy about the inquiry, and there were those on one side of politics and also those within the police who said this is an absolute waste of time because this is a squeaky clean police force. So I was aware of the people who said no, don't do this, but I also thought this was worth doing.
Justice Wood is a member of a highly organised, mafia-style criminal syndicate that has infiltrated every aspect of Australian society, including Parliament, the Judiciary, church denominations, law enforcement, the military, child protection, hospitals, educational facilities, and childcare centres. The network has numerous branches, many different faces, and thousands of members who profit from illegal activities including drugs, arms, and child sex trafficking. If you look at any of the media around Justice James Roland Wood, you will find it is universally gushing in its praise for this figure. He has never had to face a difficult question. He has always been held in the highest esteem. If you dig deep enough, you can find within political circles an acknowledgement that the Wood Royal Commission was a complete and utter failure. 5 years after the final report of the Wood Royal Commission, the Australian Parliament's House of Representatives Standing Committee on Legal and Constitutional Affairs acknowledged that nothing had changed. I quote, "From New South Wales came very serious allegations of corruption in New South Wales policing, including allegations of protection of paedophiles, doctoring of police statistics, the failure of the Wood Royal Commission, and the systemic failure of bodies set up to investigate such issues."
Sorry, I really didn't know what we'd find. I just did not know. I had an open mind, and all we could do was go ahead and see what happened.
The initial scope of the inquiry was the systemic or entrenched corruption within the New South Wales Police Force, the activities of New South Wales Police Force's Professional Responsibility Command, the system of promotions within New South Wales Police, and the impartiality of the New South Wales Police Force in relation to the investigation and prosecution of criminal activities, including pedophile activity. The scope of the inquiry was expanded to include the protection of paedophiles from criminal investigation and the adequacy of New South Wales Police Force's investigations of paedophiles. It also looked at the sufficiency of existing laws prohibiting pedophilia. The Wood Royal Commission final report was published on the 1st of May 1997. 3 volumes of this report were devoted to pedophilia inquiries. Volume 4, Chapter 5, pages 99 to 116, was solely devoted to the subject of ritual abuse. The entire contents of Chapter 5 were devoted to discrediting ritual abuse victims. Wood's given explanation for the multitude of witness testimonies regarding ritual abuse were, according to him, caused by mental illness, substance abuse histories, and urban legend. Wood argued for the existence of false memory syndrome. False memory syndrome is not a recognized psychiatric condition. It does not appear in the DSM, the Diagnostic Services Manual. The term was coined by paedophiles and their supporters. Now, the real reason behind Wood's dismissal of the evidence of the existence of ritual abuse and the VIP paedophile ring in Australia has come to light. Justice James Roland Wood was one of the VIP paedophile ring's clientele, paying to rape children in a King's Cross boy brothel. One victim, Dean Henry, who was prostituted by government-owned boys' homes, has named Justice Wood as someone who raped him. Abused as a child in the 12 Tribes community for 4 years from the age of 5 to 9, Dean was sold by his mother to people for sex. A man with the surname Azzopardi would take Dean, another boy, and 2 young girls to a brothel run by Sam Ibrahim in King's Cross. The 2 girls were there 4 times before they dropped off the face of the earth. Dean said he was not only raped in that brothel, but tortured as well. For 4 years he copped that. Liberal Senator Bill Heffernan previously accused Justice Wood of failing to investigate the lawyers and judges who were attending that boys' brothel in King's Cross. Senator Heffernan had a list of 28 high-profile alleged paedophiles, including one former Australian Prime Minister. The list forms part of a police document and was given to Heffernan by a police agency.
It's not so much the secret that's the problem. It's when a group of people, such as the 28 people on this page, keep each other's secrets, that the institution, going back to my point of the institution, becomes compromised. And on this list, and I won't, there are some spectacular examples of that. People involved in hearing court cases, people, anyhow, I won't go through that. I just appeal for the thousands and thousands and thousands of people in Australia, and the Royal Commission, to its credit, is demonstrating the disgusting culture of some of our institutions. I appeal to you, for you to give consideration to cleaning up this act. I mean, the Royal Commission, the Wood Royal Commission, as you know, Mr. Attorney, was about to explore, and it's in the Hansard, so it's no great secret, who the legal fraternity people were that used to attend Costello's, the boy brothel club in Kellett Street, King's Cross. And I've actually got the list here. And a lot of them are still practising. But the judge of the day of the Royal Commission decided it was a no-go zone, and Paddy Bergen, counsel assisting at the time, said, we'll rise for morning tea, and they never went back to it. And I did ask the Commissioner why. He said he'd deny it. If ever I mention it, I think it's time to mention it in view of the good work of the Royal Commission. He said, we've decided not to revisit that issue because the public would lose confidence in the judiciary.
Before the report was finalised, Justice Wood had wrangled special powers where he could fire people from the New South Wales Police Force without them being found guilty, without anyone presiding over their trial or examining the evidence other than him. And then he conferred these special powers to the Chief Investigator, Detective Clive Small. And then they used those special powers to clear out the New South Wales Police Force. But they weren't going after the corrupt officers. They were going after the good ones. They were going after key areas, key regions where they needed dirty police, such as Lismore, Richmond Command, and Northern Rivers of New South Wales. They cleared out entire police stations, just said every officer there was dirty, no trial, no evidence, and then they replaced them with the police officers who would be conducive to the mafia business that happened in that area. And any police that were investigating or taking serious reports of the satanic cult, they were gone. The police commissioner who was forced out, Tony Lauer, he was dirty as sin and an associate of the judge, Justice James Roland Wood, and the chief investigator, Detective Clive Small. Well, he was his boss, but Tony Lauer still had to go. There were heads had to fall as a result of this commission. There was no way that Justice James Roland Wood or Detective Clive Small could conduct the commission without having heads roll to satisfy the public. Tony Lauer was a member of the satanic cult, but he fell on his sword. And the person that they brought in to replace him, Peter Ryan from England, was another member of the satanic cult. Mr. Peter Ryan, formerly the Chief Constable at Norfolk in the UK and the National Director of Police Training in the UK. He was sworn in on the 30th of the 10th, 1996. New South Wales has been infected by brutal satanic cults since at least the late 1960s, a network of evil which has indulged in murder, prostitution, child pornography, and the same satanic cult has been pulling the strings for the British police force for at least as long as that as well. So we got rid of one foul turd and replaced him with another foul turd.